Hello everyone. Welcome to Linda Sue Plants for You. I know it's been a little while again and I missed you all. And many of you told me that you missed me too. So that's kind of a nice thing to hear. One of the things that I wanted to do was to update you on my fungus problem. But there's nothing really new to show you other than I cut off the bad leaves. But I will tell you that my husband helped me. He took the plants that were on the big stand, took them all outside, and he treated them for me with a fungus spray, a liquid, with copper. And I don't know the scientific reason behind it, but I have heard from several people that I respect that are very knowledgeable in the plant world, and they said you really want to get the one with the copper in it. I don't know the science behind it, so if you want to look that up, you probably will be able to find something on it. But anyway, that's what he used, and so far I haven't seen any new yellowing leaves or black spots or anything like that. So hopefully we got it handled, at least on that stand. And I think that how we got it was I've got hostas out in front of my house. I do have a exterior video on that from last year if anybody cares to go see it. And in front of the porch I've got varying shades of hosta. I've got the plain, all green, solid green, and then I've got the one of the variegated types. The all green one we noticed a couple weeks ago just didn't look right, and then about a week after that I was looking at it again and I said, you know what, that looks like fungus to me. And I got a closer look at it, and sure enough, that's definitely what it was. And it only affected the solid green ones, nothing on the variegated ones, which that really blew me away because they're overlapping, they're touching each other, and they're kind of tucked into each other, but nothing on that. So I'm sure there's some kind of scientific explanation for that, but again, I'm not going to take the time to look it up. I just wanted to know how to fix my plants that were dying. Now that porch, that shelf that I showed you in my last video, is right next to, it's on the wall, almost in front of the door that leads to the outside porch. And we had a really windy, well, we had a couple of very unusually warm days, followed by cold and rain and moisture, and I don't know, our weather has been just crazy. It's not even, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. We've had days where it's varied from 90 degrees one day and frost warnings the next. It's just crazy. But anyway, I'm sure that was probably had a lot to do with it. And on that day we had the door open, it was very windy, and when you have mold or fungus, that spreads so easily through the air. So I'm thinking that's what the cause of it was. I've never had fungus on my houseplants ever in my life, so I was really perplexed. But anyway, that's what we did. I'll bring you an update when I get through the rest of them. I do have a few other plants in the house that have the same thing going on, but there's only so much that I can do in a day, and I always need my husband's help for stuff, so we'll get there eventually. But for right now, I just wanted to kind of give you a short synopsis of where we went with that, for those of you who would be inquiring about it. All right, so now today's video is going to be about the repotting these plants. This is my one that I got from Logi's, and it needs to go in a bigger pot. It's an alocasia, and it's oops. It really needs to be repotted. It's in this small little pot, but I haven't been able to do it for medical reasons. So I watered it and did the best I could to keep it alive, and it's still looking really good, but I got to get it out of this pot. Whoops, I started to mix my soil here. And my soil mixture again is, I mean, it varies from time to time, and everybody's got their own, you know, way of doing things and their own mixture. So for those of you that are new in the green plant world, or tropical plants, whatever you want to call it, don't fret over that, whatever you do, because you can really pot most plants up in just any kind of interior potting mix, and they will survive. Because, and I know this because that's all we had for years and years and years. Now, the difference is, if you really want them to thrive, you want to make the soil as best you can, as close as you can to what is really the best for that plant. What I have found is the mixtures that I use here is really, it's good for any of the plants that I own. And I have cactus and succulents and tropicals, and it works for every one of them. I do, if I have sand on hand, I will add sand to some of my cactus, and they seem to like that. So that's probably the only real big difference. But in this mix today, I've got organic potting mix and perlite and orchid bark and cocoa coir, and I think a little peat, or maybe the potting mix had peat. I can't remember, but it's a pretty light, airy soil. So you'll see as we go on here. I'm trying not to breathe that perlite dust in there. Perlite, you know, I've heard people say. In fact, I was really shocked at one video I saw a couple of years ago, and it was taking place at a greenhouse, and the lady that owned it and one of her workers were putting on this video, and they were saying how you shouldn't, how you don't need to, you can use styrofoam peanuts in your soil instead of the perlite. Well, I know some people who have used styrofoam peanuts successfully. It's not something I would do, but, you know, to each his own. But they said after all, that's all it is. He said that's all perlite is styrofoam. It's not styrofoam, my friends. It's volcanic rock or ash, and it's hardened, and then it's, you know, pretty much turns into dust eventually. So it's more of a, I don't know if you can't really call it a stone, but it's not styrofoam. So, no, some people don't like using the perlite because it tends to float to the top, and after a while your plants seem like that's all perlite on top of there, and that is true, they do that. But usually by the time that happens, I'm ready to repot that plant anyway, and it does provide good drainage for them, to aerate the soil. And I haven't talked about that in a while, so I thought I'd bring that up today. Okay, so the plants we're going to repot today are my alocasia, my anthurium, and I have some cuttings here from Lowe's. My husband took me to Lowe's about 2 weeks ago, and because we were looking for that fungus spray, and I got, well, the Wandering Jew is what we always called it, and I don't know, I've heard that that's not a politically correct term, but my goodness, you know, that's what we call it for years. But anyway, that is going to get potted up, and this is a coffee plant, and I'm going to be potting that up as well. I always wanted to get one of these. I was curious as to what they looked like. So, I I know that they supposedly, I'm sorry, I just noticed something on there. They supposedly will attract any pests that you have, you know, the flying insects. So I don't know if that's true, but I hope so. I still am dealing with an occasional fungus gnat. Peggy from Peggy's Tropical Gardens just put out an excellent video on fungus gnats and how to treat them. And it was kind of funny because I did one on that, I don't know, probably about a year ago now. And it was exactly the same 3 or 4 things that she used, I also use. So I was happy to see that because it was kind of a confirmation that I'm doing something right. We still do get an occasional fungus gnat. We live in a very wet area, surrounded by lakes and creeks and a lot of water, so a lot of standing water. So even if we get rid of them in the house, there's still a good chance one might follow me in through the door. So we do get them occasionally, but we got a handle on it now. And one of the things that I do use that I know she didn't, I don't think she mentioned, is the long yellow strips. I think I got mine at Home Depot. There were like 10 or 12 in a box. They're rolled up, and they come with a thumbtack. And I think they were $2.98 or something like that. So they last forever. And we had them in 3 different rooms, and I didn't see hardly any on the other ones. But the one in the bathroom is covered in them. And I keep that LED light on it during the day because we don't have a window in there. And I need that light for my plants. So they're attracted to that and the moisture. So we're having really good success with that. In fact, I need to change it. It's full now. And honestly, I hate those things. They look so stinky to me and disgusting, but it's just as disgusting to have fungus gnats flying up your nose and your mouth and your eyes and what have you. So I guess I just had to pick the better of the 2 evils. Alright, enough about that. Let's get going. Let's repot. I guess I'll save this one for last. Or maybe I should get that out of the way because that's the biggest one. And it's in this pot, and I'm going to be putting it in this pot. This was a dollar store pot, and I just drilled holes in it. This one I was able to drill the holes myself because my drill worked on that. Most of the ones that have holes in them, my husband had to drill because my drill is on its way out. So, alright, I'm going to put some soil in here. I might not get all these done. I might end up having to make another batch of soil. I hope not. I think I got a little too much in there. Okay, and again, this one is the Anthurium. It's called Big Red Bird. And I got it from Logi's, and it's very healthy. As you can see, the roots are coming out the top of the pot here, so definitely need to get this done. What I was a little disappointed when I got this because the picture that I ordered it from had all different colored leaves. It had orange and red and burgundy, and this one just has green. Well, I talked to Suzette from Suzette's Gardens because she knows a lot about plants, and she said that that's is normal. That the only part that really stays red are the veining in it, but I'm not even seeing it in that right now. I think one of these leaves had some red veining, but it's not very prominent. Either way, it's a beautiful plant, so I'm not too concerned about it. But I really wanted the color. That's what I bought it for, but that's all right. So these roots on here are just crazy. They're just get a real close up for you here. This is definitely root. Oh my goodness! Look at the bottom. Holy cow! Definitely needed repotting. Got too much soil in there. Now I don't know. Yeah, I just broke it off. This isn't even, I can't even loosen these. It's so tight. And I tried to and I broke one off, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to pot it up and hope that it finds its own way in the world. You know, usually we try to open up the roots a little bit to wake them up and let them know, hey, it's okay to spread your wings. But I can't do that with this one, so I'm going to just hope that they find their own way. And I think they will. You know, these types of plants that we all grow in the wild, and they're not used to being restricted, having their roots restricted like in a pot. So that's why we normally try to give them a little head start. But if you can't do it without breaking them, then I would say do not do it. And I know I've had people even write to me and say that they do it all the time and they've never had a problem. And I believe them. I mean, I've never seen major damage from spreading the roots out. However, I can't help but think the roots that are viable, that are in there for a reason, and they're feeding the plant. They're taking nutrition up into the leaves. You know. So I'm thinking if you rip even some of them off, my feeling is that you're taking the avenue for the minerals and everything to be taken up by those roots. So my thought is that it probably, even if it doesn't hurt it and you don't notice any change, it may be that it would have been doing even better than it was had you not done that. So, and I don't know. That's just my thought. I don't put anybody down for the way they do things. Everybody has their own way. And in most cases, it's not a right and wrong. It's just a different way. There are some right and wrongs. There are some things that you absolutely don't want to do, and people that don't have a lot of experience need that help. They need that source to go to, and so we want to try and give them the best advice we can so they don't start off with bad habits or what have you. And that's not always possible either, honestly. Everybody's homes are different, or humidity is different and everything, so. Okay. I'm not sure why this leaf, actually a couple of them, I don't think that's going to go back up, but we'll see. But that didn't take long. That's that. And move that out of the way. Okay. Alrighty. And these are all going to get a good soaking when I'm done. And I'll show you a close-up of everything when I finish. Okay. And then this is from Logi's. This is another, an alocasia Frydek, it's called. And we're just going to put that in a plastic pot. These, we've been getting, these nursery pots have been coming with a lot of drainage in them, so I've been using them. I think we all know that when we go to take a plant out of its container, it's always good to squeeze. Oh, look at that. This one's falling apart. It's good to squeeze it to get it loose. And then get a firm grip as low as you can to the soil. And gently pull and wiggle until it comes out. Okay. And that was wonderful. That came out great. Okay. I hope you all are doing well. I hope nobody's in your circle are sick. I know in our state they're finally opening things up, and some people have masks, some don't. Some stores require it. Menards is one of them. My husband went in there to get bird feed a week or two ago, and somebody came running up to him and said, "Sir, you have to wear a mask." And he didn't have one, so they said, "Well, we sell them at the service desk for $1. So he went and bought one, and now he knows he's got to wear a mask when he goes in there. And you know, regardless of anybody's opinion politically, that doesn't matter at this point. We know this is a highly contagious thing, so if you're going to go out in public, I hope you're wearing a mask, because until we're through this, until we get to a point where it's just an occasional flu bug, I really think that we need to keep ourselves from spreading it. And honestly, for people like me, that would be certain death if I got that, because of my health. And there's many people out there like me. So if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for the other people who have no choice, who don't have someone that can go to the store for them. They're forced to go to the store, at least for food. And you know, they can wear a mask, but that's not foolproof. But if everybody wore one, I think we'd see the numbers come down much faster here. But that's just my opinion. Alright, and this is going to have to get tied up. I thought I brought my green tape. I'll get that later. I finally found my green Velcro at the store last time I went. I haven't seen it since the year before last. They weren't selling it anywhere, and I think if they would have a display of it, they'd probably sell a ton of it because it's wonderful for tying up your plants, and it's reusable. You can just, it sticks to itself like Velcro, and you can make it bigger or smaller, and you can adjust it if you get more growth. So it's a wonderful thing to use. I use this as a last minute thing, and my my other choice is elastic, because elastic will stretch, and sometimes we tie up our plants and we forget to loosen them as they grow, and then by the time we get back to them we find out they're choking off half the plant. So I don't like using these tie wraps, and I don't like using string for that reason. So, okay, that's that one. Okay. Here. Coffee plant. They've been doing this a lot now at Lowe's, the self-watering, the wick watering, and I guess some people like it. I'm not one of those people. I don't know why, but I just never could. I never cared for the bottom watering, and I think it's because it takes a while for the liquid to get back up in there, and then you got to remember to take them out if there's still water in the bottom. So that might be my problem. I don't know, but I just, and these don't sit flat. I'm going to put it in this pot. I'm going to go only a little bit bigger, but I'm going to put it inside of here because this is going to be my next size up. And I don't know, now that I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if, yeah, no, I think that's too big. So we're gonna go with this one. And again, I'm squeezing the pot to loosen the root ball. Oh, that's definitely root bound. I think maybe we better go with this one. You can see. So if I put it in the smaller one, it's going to need to be repotted in another couple weeks, and I don't want to have to remember to do that. So I'm just going to put it in this bigger pot. I got a hunch I think these are fast growing, these coffee plants. And they say you can, when they bear the fruit, that you can actually roast the beans and make coffee out of it. I don't think I would ever go through that, but they say that you can, so. And there again, I guess that's providing you're not using any systemic anything, fertilizer or weed killer. If you do, you got to make sure it's safe. And I don't think those things are ever safe. I really dislike chemicals of any kind, but sometimes they're a necessary evil. Kind of like medicine for people, I'm one of these that I won't go to the doctor until I'm dying, because they always seem to find something wrong, and they always want to write a prescription for something, and I just don't believe in that. So My mom was the same way. And she's 87 and a half years old. And she doesn't, I don't know that she's ever had an antibiotic. So, there, I think that looks pretty. I love the leaves on this plant. Really pretty and deep dark green. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the dark spots on these leaves and wondering what that is, but I'll look at it later because I don't have my glasses on and I don't want to make you guys wait. My wonderful husband is at the grocery store right now and he should be home any time, so I'd like to finish this up before he gets home, and then I gotta put groceries away, so. Okay, I think, did I tell you already about this? I don't know, I'll tell you again. I got this at Lowe's. It was laying on the ground. And, you know, I'm always leery about asking them because I feel like they're going to think I you know, stole it or cut it or snipped it off. But they didn't have any of these plants in that area, so I felt comfortable saying, you know, you don't have any of these. I don't know where this came from, but it was laying on the floor. Is it all right if I take it? And they said, oh, absolutely. So, I didn't steal it. And I know I've heard people say how tempted they are when they go in a place and they've had so much, they have such big beautiful plants, and you know they're not going to miss a little snipping, but you know if everybody did that there wouldn't be anything left. So and I am just amazed because I put those in water, and I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. 3 days later I had roots. These root very fast, very easy. Uh-oh. I just broke the stem putting it in here. Darn. We had a pretty nice weather today. I liked it. I like it on a little on the cool side, and it's definitely on the cool side. It's like in the 60s, low 60s. So the sky's blue, the sun is shining, and it's just beautiful. Can you see the roots? I hope you can see. I had one of these plants many, many years ago. My goodness, it's got to be 40 years ago. That would make me, what, 60s, 26, oh, less than that. I mean, more than that. It was 40, probably 42 years ago. And it was, you couldn't even get your arms around it. It was so big and full. And the length was, if I stood in front of it, the top of it was above my head and the bottom of it was almost down to the floor. It was huge. Now, what am I going to do here? I've got 2 sets of roots too far apart from each other. They're not going to do well in this pot because The bottom root isn't even going to get in the soil, I don't think. Well, let's try it. Ugh. I shouldn't have left this one so long. Well, maybe. Maybe it'll be okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to repot this. But I think it'll be okay for now. Is it gonna? No, it's not. I don't think it is. I think it's gonna fall over. I need a plan B. Okay, here it is. Let's use this pot. Okay, that would make more sense. Yeah. Sometimes it's got to be a trial and error thing. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. You know, it's so hard for me to get this camera straight. I know some of you really like to watch my hands and you like to see what I'm doing with my hands, but then if I get it too close so that you can see that, then you don't see the whole plant, and there are people who want to see the whole plant. So it's kind of hard for me to gauge. And of course, when I'm paying attention to what I'm doing here, I'm not really paying attention to what you're seeing there. Okay. All right. I think we're gonna stick these in there. The key to this plant is to try to keep it, the top of it, very clean, because these tend to die off on the top of the soil when they get older, bigger, and then you end up with a very leggy plant, because your new growth, most of it comes from the top of the soil. This plant does put off some side shoots, but the bulk of it comes from the top. So if you haven't got that cleaned up, and you don't keep it moist, and if you don't keep it, if you don't have the sunlight on the top of it, that affects it as well. So
Got your wrong ones.
okay, I have to put you on hold for a moment. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Okay. Well, I'm almost done here. I apologize for the interruption there. I had to hold the door open for my hubby and put some groceries away. So we're going to finish this up here now. A mess here, but nothing unusual about that. Okay, we got one more to go. Now, I know this probably seems too big for this pot, but my philodendrons always seem to do better when I overpot them, so I think we're gonna let this be okay in here. I don't know, what do you guys think? I kind of wish it was this size but not quite as tall, but I think this will be okay. Oops. I have to make that a little bit tighter. That's my, I did go and get my my Velcro. I don't remember if I told you this in this video or not, but I finally found my Velcro that I was looking for forever, and I like it. I got it on here. I may need another one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But for right now, let's just get our planting done. And this was one of them that I got from Logi's. This is Philodendron Moonlight, it's called. And it's got some beautiful color. But it's got a few little things on it that, you know, up until I had this problem with the fungus, I wouldn't have thought anything of these marks that are on here, but now every little thing I see I'm getting petrified over, hoping that it's not some kind of bug. But, alright, I think we're going to just put this in this here, and hopefully it won't be too I don't know. It seems kind of big. Well, I think the worst that can happen, you know, when you overpot something is it takes longer to grow, because they want to fill up the roots before they, you know, get the energy up into the leaves. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if we overpot this, and I think that's what we're going to do. And again, I'm squeezing the pot and setting it on its side and gently pulling it out. I think we need a little more soil in here. I just lose track of time at this time of year, because I can usually tell what time it is by how light it is outside and where the sun is at, but we're still kind of in that transition spring to summer, and I'm not quite used to that. I know the other day my husband, he was doing something outside, and I don't remember what we were doing, but I just remember we hadn't eaten dinner yet, and when he came in, I said, do you want to eat pretty soon? And he said, well, whenever you're ready. And I looked at the clock, and it was 10 to 8. I said, what the heck? Where did that other time go? I had no clue it was that late. So I don't know, I think we're going to have the same issue today, but that's alright. He's outside putzing, and I'm in here putzing. We make a good pair. Alright, I think that's good. Okay, then I'm going to put this back in here, because, you know, when you get older, your memory is not what it was, and I don't like to leave anything to memory nowadays. Alright. Let me clean up this mess, and I'll do a close-up of everything, and I guess we can call it a day. I want to water one of these, this one, and I think this one could use more water too, the coffee plant. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay, and for the final product, we'll do a little zooming in here so you can get a better look. That is my Moonlight Philodendron. I can't wait till that gets really big. So pretty. And this is my red bird, Anthurium. And you can kind of see the veining in here now that I got the light on. The red veining. And on this leaf too. But I'm still a little disappointed that the leaves don't get red.
You all done?
But it's okay. And here is my coffee plant. She's going to be beautiful too when she gets big. I love the way these leaves feel. They almost feel fake. Feels like plastic. And this, of course, is my wandering Jew. Let's see how well that does. And my alocasia fried. Love the markings on these. It's beautiful. And I've gotten 2 new leaves since I had it. And then I didn't show you guys this one, but I'm just putting it in there because it's something that I am trying to root. The purple passion. And that'll be done. That'll be a real plant soon. So that's it. You can see them all now. Thank you all for coming back. And thank you for supporting my channel. If you aren't already subscribed and you want to see more of what I have, just hit the subscribe button. And if you really like what you see and you want to give me a thumbs up, that would be great too. Alright. Okay. We'll see you soon. Bye now.